The time is currently 12:03 a.m. I will be waking up very early tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. because I will be doing yet again another blood donation, more specifically, a blood plasma donation. Key difference, I asked my sister if she'd be interested, and she said yes. So she will be going with me tomorrow morning. And the cool thing is, there is a referral bonus for those who refer a family member or friend to the blood plasma donation center. So that means that once she says that I referred her, well, actually, the place scans the QR code that I sent through text. I will be getting a bonus for referring. So that's also a little nice little incentive bonus thing. The referral bonus is $50, and that's only if the individual decides to visit twice. Also, I remember that the amount that we'll be receiving for the second visit is a substantial increase from the first amount, which was only $75. The amount now will be $125. So, if you don't mind donating blood plasma and you want a little extra cash, not a bad thing to do. You will have to be poked by some needles for a little bit, but yeah, it's honestly not really that painful, and after it's done, you'll be compensated pretty well. So, very nice. Okay, well, what should I talk about today? I had today off. It was a very relaxing, but also very antsy day, I suppose. That's an interesting answer. Why do I say that? Well, when I got up, I wanted to make some homemade pancakes for breakfast. I asked my sister if she was interested in having some. She said yes. So I started making the batter. But before I made the batter, we have this pancake electric griddle that evenly heats the surface and is a non-stick pan. And it's like a flat, elongated, rectangular pan on top of this smokeless grill, electric grill. And I was like, I haven't used this thing in a really long time, so I'm going to use it. Problem with it was that since it hadn't been used for such a long time, there was some grime on the rectangular pan. Now, originally, my idea was to just scrub it until it seemed good enough, and then put it on the pan. And I thought that he might make amends of everything else. But then a weird smell started forming when the pan began heating up to 350 degrees. That's a cool thing about it. You can make a precise heat on this pan, so that way you will get a consistent result every time. But anywho, this pan started to smell like there was like burning something on there. It's hard to describe, just sort of like burning dust, I guess. And my sister also noticed it. She recommended it would be best to continue cleaning the pan until the grime that was present on it, which there was visible grime at the very edges that I missed, were taken care of. I was being a little bit on the impatient side because I wanted the pancakes. I wanted to start making them. But then I realized, what's the use in making the pancakes if the pan you're cooking them on is a bit dirty? That would ruin the whole experience, right? So I agreed begrudgingly because I was being impatient, and I decided to clean this pan. And after I did a deep scrub, and I continued scrubbing and scrubbing until I could see no more grease at any edges no longer, and I put it back on and reheated it, it fixed the issue. There was no burning dust smell. It was perfect. When I told my sister and I showed her, she was very happy with that result. So that was very nice to hear. And also, I felt very happy about doing it myself. Then she wanted to show me this animation, which was a condensed version of the opening arc of One Piece, where Monkey D. Luffy is getting all of his buddies together for their big epic voyage. And I've seen the fan-edited version, One Piece, that my middle sister's been showing our family for a while now. And based on what I have seen and what the summarization showed, it was pretty accurate. Of course, it was done in a much more slapstick and silly style, where it really just was like the story but on fast forward. And I have seen plenty of different animations that were probably not from the same creator, but from someone who makes, I think that the person who made the animation started this trend. I forget his name. He used to be a guy who animated for gameplay videos. Like he took audio snippets of people playing video games, like raging out, and then he would animate like the audio snippets in there and make a little animated sequence. It was really fun and funny. But then he started doing the ultimate fill in the blank recap, where he would recap, The Lion King or the Minecraft movie, things like that. And I guess he inspired other people to do the same, because this One Piece animation clearly was not made by the same guy. It had a different art style, and it just had different sound effects that were the same, and it was clearly, though, inspired by that guy who does those recap videos. So, yeah, I noticed that. And it was cute. It was fun. I enjoyed it. Now, after the watching of that video, I started making the pancake batter with the flour, the baking powder, the sugar, the salt, mix that together. The recipe called for water, but sadly we did not have any water. Instead, we had, oh man, sorry, that sounded dumb. What I meant was the recipe called for buttermilk, not water, but all we had was water. My brain was twisting everything around. So I just used water, and I mixed it with 1 egg and half a teaspoon of vanilla extract, and then 2 tablespoons of butter, melted butter. Once that was all mixed and coagulated together, I combined that into the dry ingredients, and then I had the batter. Just around that point, my mom and our family friend had arrived. They both went to get a massage together, and they immediately wanted to have chicken soup, because that's what they set their minds on before they arrived, so that's what they were going to eat, even though I was in the middle of the pancake thing. My mom's trying to get back on the diet. I acknowledge I probably should get back on the diet too, considering I had jumped a significant amount of weight since 2 days ago from when I was last checked, which was 156. But I just felt like having pancakes this morning. Originally, I wanted to go to a nearby restaurant that would sell them fairly cheaply, but at the same time, I'm trying to save money. I'm trying to be a responsible steward of my income. So I thought, well, I don't have to pay for it if I make it here. So I decided to make it here. Now, my mom decided to have 1 pancake, and our family friend said she'd have 1 too. Luckily, the amount of batter I made was just enough to feed an even divvy about to everyone. So, with the pancake griddle preheated, and my sister offering to make fluffy scrambled eggs, and then I threw some bacon on a pan. We got to work. Bacon sizzled, eggs were beaten and then constantly moved until they were into a fluffy status. And the pancakes, the first batch, the middle of it, because I always like taking one pancake out from the rest and biting into it to see how it turned out. Overall, decent flavor, but the only issue was that clearly the texture was not ideal, like what you would want from normal pancakes. And the reason why was because I'm sure the buttermilk does something to the texture that makes it much better. Water, it gave it a slightly more bland taste, and the texture, the skin of the pancake just was a little, slightly on the rough side, just slightly, to the point where it was a little bit noticeable. But overall, it was still decent, I would say. Perfect? No, but decent. And the flavor was pretty solid too. So, pancakes were put on a plate. The eggs and bacon were divvied up between me and my sister because my sister, I asked her if she wanted some. She said yes, so I threw some bacon in for her. And then we had our plates out. We put 2 pancakes away for our family friend, and my mom was given a pancake where she put a gob of butter and some Aunt Jemima syrup on it. Now, the butter, I actually just got some butter, threw it in a metal bowl, and I just continued to whip it as much as I could until I got a desired result. Overall, I still think that this whipped butter was a little on the dense side. I mean, it was good, but I could tell it wasn't as fluffy as I would like from whipped butter. Like, whipped butter is, like, in my opinion, God's gift to pancakes. You put those two together, I'm so down for it. Like, I love whipped butter on pancakes so much. So, but the thing that makes it great is how easy it is to dip the pancake into the whipped butter. And it wasn't really easy to dip the pancakes into this whipped butter because the whipped butter that I whipped up was a bit too dense. Perhaps I didn't whip it good enough. Oh well. Well, anyways, we had this meal, me and my sister together. My mom also had her share of the little pancake serving because she was trying to be good and watch what she was eating. And after we were done eating, my mom and my sister decided to spend some time together watching a program while doing an art project. They're putting little like shiny crystals on like a painting to make it look more sparkly. It's a pretty interesting little mosaic style project. Meanwhile, I put away all of the material I used to make the pancakes and the eggs and the bacon, and I washed all of the equipment I used. I had it air dry. And yeah, once everything was put away, including the whipped butter and the external electric griddle, I decided it would be a good idea to go into my room and work on this little project where I was trying to do a quick sketch of the outside of my the place I'm living at and a little cartoon drawing of me. And then when I had the rough idea, I asked ChatGPT to make it look like a finished frame from a cartoon, and then I would feed that finished frame into Grok's video generator, so that way I would have a finished animation that I could like edit together, like sort of like a draw my life sort of thing. The thing though was that in this generation, I wanted my cartoon version of myself to walk out of the house, close the door behind me, go around the front hood of my vehicle, get into my vehicle, and then back away. Sounds pretty simple. Apparently, Grok's video generator did not think so. It kept on generating things the wrong way. It would have him walk out, and then the car just would move on its own and then wait for him to walk in. But then he'd walk away from the car, and the car would act like he jumped in, and then it would drive up into the garage for some reason. Despite me using Grok 4.2's agent model to help write the absolute best prompt it possibly could to get exactly what I wanted, every time I regenerated, I would just get unusable garbage. It was such a shame, and it ate up so much time, way too much time for me to be comfortable with admitting I spent on it. It's such a shame, you know? You think, oh, this technology has advanced so much and it's finally here, time to use it. And then you use it, and it just seems like it's doing everything it can to fight against you. Something tells me that Grok's video model, as impressive as it is with being fairly free in a sense, where it's just endless generations and they generate pretty quickly and they have audio and sound and all that good stuff. As impressive as those features are, Grok ultimately has an issue with following directions in a concise way, where, like, I was even working on that Simian Jimmy video last night, and no matter how many times I generated, I just didn't get what I was looking for. I eventually did get something that was close enough to the point where it was like, okay, fine, I'm going to use that one. But man, you have to go through so many different iterations before you get exactly what you're looking for with Grok's video generator. I mean, part of me wonders, would it be a better idea to get one of those paid video generators? But then another part of me is like, oh my gosh, but that costs money. I'm trying to save money. And then you have to use up the credits before the end of the month. So you're pressured in making stuff every single day. The cool thing about Grok is you're not really pressured because it doesn't have credits, so you can do whatever you want. I guess ChatGPT also has something similar, but the annoying thing about ChatGPT is it only will do stuff like animated if it's, you know, well, like 2D drawings or stylized looking characters. If it is realistic looking characters, it instantly decides, no, I'm not going to do that, and it ignores your prompt and tells you that it's a breach of contract or something, which is extremely annoying because, you know, these models are supposed to allow for complete and total creative freedom and doing whatever you want, right? But if you can't do whatever you want, then it honestly just feels like you're bending to their rules instead of them bending to yours. And it doesn't feel like you have any agency, and it's extremely frustrating. Whereas I keep on hearing those like new models like Seed Dance 2 and Kling 3 are getting so advanced that they are outperforming all the other models like Sora 2. And even so, those do cost money, and they're not even available to the general public yet. They're more in closed beta testing stages. So it's really frustrating. I wish that it wasn't, and that it would just give me the perfect result first try every time. I guess the only good news is that it doesn't really cost any credits, so it's not too much of a hit on my pocketbook, so that's cool, I guess. But overall, it's frustrating and annoying to work with, and that sucks. Well, anyway, moving on. After my attempts at using the new Grok model and then it not getting exactly what I was looking for, I decided to take a shower. When I was done taking the shower, I watched a little bit of an old Red Letter Media video where Jay Bauman and the other guy, I forget his name, he's got like a beard and he's very jolly, but it's not Santa Claus though. But for whatever reason, I'm forgetting his name. Josh the Wizard, yeah. They're talking about Twin Peaks: The Return, and they're just sharing their thoughts and opinions on where the story goes and what they think of the show overall, and what they got out of it. And it's a lot of fun seeing people who are clearly deeply invested in this production, this story that I recently just finished like 2 days ago. watching them share their, or not 2 days, yesterday, sorry. Watching them share their opinions on it and enjoying it deeply is just really cool. And it's done in a way where it's extremely well edited and you easily understand what's going on. And it's just a lot of fun seeing these people who clearly know what they're talking about expressing their love for this production in such a vivid and well realized way. And I really enjoyed that. Well, moving along, I decided afterwards to take a shower because my head was getting really itchy and full of dandruff. So I did take a shower. Lasted about 30 minutes. When I was done, I put on some new clothes. And then I decided to go walking around the block for a little while. Planned on it being 30 minutes, had to cut it short by 15 minutes because it started to rain a little bit around my second round of walking around the block. So that was a little annoying, but glad I was able to get some walking in instead of none at all. Now, I was listening to this really interesting video from a YouTube channel called Farsight, where there was this dude who was talking about like his reaction to Obama apparently confirming that aliens are real, but he's never seen them, and he doesn't think they're like secret conspiracies where there are underground facilities containing them. But he also believes that it could also be possible that that kind of information has been shielded away from the president and they're not allowed to know any of that. So I think that it's interesting that he said, yes, they are real. Like immediately. Didn't bat an eye. Didn't look like he had to think about it. Just straight up said, yep, they're real. Now you could say, oh, but he's just joking because he's got a sense of humor. I don't know. Seemed like he wasn't joking to me, but I am an alien hopeful, so maybe I'm just biased. But it is interesting how he said, like, no, I was never shown them, but they're real. Like, what the heck? That's bizarre. Like, what a bizarre answer from a former leader of the free world. Makes you wonder what's going on, you know? I mean, let's be real. People like presidents are just temporary employees. Why would you share some of the deepest and most disturbing secrets with temporary employees? You keep that stuff close to your chest in a more permanent stay of governance, you know? I mean, it just makes sense. Like people who are like part of the FBI, CIA, stuff like that. That makes more sense for them to withhold that information because unlike presidents or certain politicians, people in those positions are there like permanently, so they're more likely to have a deep knowledge of that kind of stuff. Just makes sense. All right, well, after that interesting video, where I was listening to the guy, he brought up the whole Obama thing, and then he brought up about like he started to get deep into like ladies' relationships with like alpha males versus beta males, and he said like this is a lot like America's relationship with like its leaders, or the Earth's relationship with like the supposed aliens. It was like a weird, bizarre video, but it was interesting because the guy who was talking throughout it definitely sounded like he was into what he was talking about. Like he had a deep-seated belief of his opinions on the matters he was discussing, which made it interesting. I like hearing people talk about what interests them because it gives me more insight into this world and the people who live in it, and I just think that's really fascinating. But anyways, after I didn't finish the video, I only finished a little bit of it. I was listening to it 2x speed, just because I like to get the same amount of information in less time. Now, but if it's a well-edited video, I usually watch it at normal speed. But if it's just a video of a talking head, 2x speed, because, I only got so much time on this earth. After I was done watching that video, or listening to it, while walking, I arrived in my room, in the house, where I was told that we were going to be finishing Pluribus tonight. So I was like, all right, well, sounds good. But then my mom decided to make some cornbread, and then she got a call from her brother, who was talking with him. And as all of that was happening, I decided it would be a good time to get some work done on Brain Jam. So I continued working on Brain Jam Extra today. I started off with completing the 15 minutes that I did not complete yesterday. And then I started doing a new 30-minute session that was for today. And it went really well. I got quite a bit done. I currently am at the part where there is a teacher talking about whales getting attacked by giant sharks, and the teacher's looking like he's really into it. He's discussing what he's talking about, and I'm doing it through these different drawings that are like shown in a sequence, kind of like a storyboard, as I'm talking in the video. It's coming along pretty well, I would say. I'm having some fun with it. And the cool thing is, when you start doing these projects, like, it's a little hard at first because you're like, I don't know what to do. This is tough, man. But then once you get over yourself and you really start seeing all the possibilities of what you can do, then it becomes a lot of fun, and it just is really enjoyable. And then you end up liking it. So, yeah. But then I had to stop 8 minutes before I could finish today's session, because I'm almost done with everything. And so we went to see Pluribus. Before we did, she wanted me to try the cornbread. I tried it. I thought it was a little too dense. I liked the crust that formed around the cornbread, but the actual cornbread itself was just too thick for me. I like my cornbread to be soft and moist. I don't like it to be condensed and thick, because then it just, I don't know, it's too much. My sister popped some popcorn. She showed me a cool trick where if you open the bottom of the popcorn bag a little bit and shake it over like a bowl, you can get most of the kernels out of it. So that way you can just have all the popcorn without any of the kernels, which was a cool trick. I gotta be honest, that was the first time I was ever told that. So, cool thing to know. You learn something new every day. Awesome. I asked everyone if they wanted frescas. They said yes. I got the frescas out. And then we all sat together and we began watching Pluribus. And we went through 2 episodes, episode 7 and episode 8. Episode 7 was pretty interesting. It was this man from Mexico who knew there was someone normal out there who was trying to get into contact with everyone who was still normal. Thing is, he does not trust any of the alien mind virus people. He finds them just weird and uncomfortable and just like stealers of thoughts and emotions, and he just doesn't like that. He prefers that everyone has their own independence and can stand on their own. And the fact that everyone's mind has been stolen by this one consciousness is something he just clearly doesn't like and disapproves of heavily, much like the main character of the show, Carol. So when he finds out that Carol's out there, he looks at the address that the VHS that was sent to him of her video is out there, he decides to go on a long trip across the country to get to where she is, which is Albuquerque, New Mexico. And the whole episode is basically just him like cruising around this strange world where he's like not wanting any help from the alien being people. Like he's just changing up cars. He's listening to English speaking tapes so he can teach himself how to speak English. So when he eventually finds Carol, he'll be able to communicate or have an understanding about who she is and where she came from, or what she's trying to do. And he just keeps on repeating to himself, I'm going to save the world. Hello, my name is... I'm forgetting his name right now. It was a really cool name, though. And he says, hello, Carol. I'm trying to save the world. I'm not one of them. And he repeats that to himself over and over again because that's what he wants to present to himself to Carol when he eventually sees her. Sadly, though, he gets to a point where there's this big jungle forest that's covering, and he wants to go on his own. The Bings come, they try to stop him. They say, hey, it's too dangerous. If you try to go past this foresty area, you're going to get hurt because there's a lot that could easily injure you and cause you to, die. He instead makes a statement by putting oil all over his car and burning it up and telling them that he doesn't trust them and that they steal everyone and he just wants to be part of that. So he just decides to go off on his own to be independent to get to Albuquerque, New Mexico on foot through this deadly looking forest. Despite the alien beings offering help every step along the way. He keeps on going through, but then he eventually accidentally trips and his back presses against these spiky trees that are probably poisoned, causing him to get seriously hurt. And so he tries to burn the parts of his body that were hit by the spikes with a hot sword, but ultimately it doesn't really do much to help him out, and he ends up fainting at the brink of death and exhaustion and probably dehydration, only for him to be spotted by the Bings because earlier in the episode it was brought up that they have drones watching him from the sky at all times so they can keep an eye on him. So they were probably watching him getting through all that, and eventually when he collapsed, they were like, okay, time to help him out. We got to interfere so he doesn't die. Because at the end of the day, the Bing's main point for keeping the normal people around who haven't been infected is to eventually find a way to coerce them into being part of their group. So, yeah, they bring the guy to a hospital, and that's the end of that episode. The next episode is Carol basically like messing around in essentially a post-apocalyptic version of her town, where she's like, shooting golf balls through windows. She's lining up fireworks in rows and almost gets shot by one before it shoots past her head and into a house that was a next door neighbor's. Or, of course, the neighbors left because they were infected by the virus. And, eventually she just starts to get extremely lonely. And so she decides to get the Being's attention by making a huge sign that says, like, you can come back now. And eventually, one of the ladies that the Beings chose to greet her, who they chose because she looks a lot like the main character from her book, decided they thought it, like she had, reconciled. She was done with being, nasty towards them, and so they decided to go and, okay, we'll return. Here we go. And so that's what happened. You even see in the background as the two characters are talking that behind Carol, you see just a constant row of airplanes in the sky, which is clearly like the beings being like, okay, I guess she's done trying to kill us. We can. It's safe to come back now. We can make this like a community thing again. So Carol begins to form a relationship with the lady, and they start to get intimate. And even though she is well aware that the lady is not an individual but part of the hive mind, um, she even plays games and asks questions, and they go and play like rugby and all manner of different activities. Before, and as they're doing this, Carol is gathering intel and writing down what she knows about these beings on her whiteboard at her house. And it's really interesting seeing how these beings think, how they interact. They want to keep things as maintained and easy as possible. So instead of wasting electricity sleeping in different parts and locations, they only use electricity and by gathering up in like these big stadiums. So they only have one place that uses electricity. They also apparently are capable of like making buildings come back that were torn down a long time ago. Yes, and it's just so interesting how clearly they're trying to be nice to her so they can get on our good side, and she can feel like she can join. Obviously, is what their end goal is, but she's not having it. She wants to maintain her independence because in the previous episode, apparently they cannot put you part of their collective conscience unless you consent to them taking like their DNA through like their bone marrow or something, and then them matching up their DNA sequence with your DNA sequence, so that way they can give you a shot that'll make you one of them. And but that means that like their whole point is, yes, they want you to be part of their hive mind, but they also don't want to force you into their hive mind. They want you to consent to being part of their hive mind through doing the procedure. And so she doesn't want that, so she's like, no. So clearly they're just trying to get on her good side, so eventually she'll crack under pressure and say, okay, fine. So apparently the lady is told, Carol's told that she does have a visitor coming. And then we cut to the Mexican man who was in the hospital. He ran out because he didn't trust the hospital. Well, he didn't run out. He actually stabbed one of the surgeon alien mind virus people with scissors before he asks them, hey, get me out of here. And oh, by the way, when I eventually save the world, I want to know how much I owe the hospital. And they said, oh, it's free. No, no. And he's like, oh, yeah, well, how much would have been before the convergence? And they said, well, around $8,000 something. I was like, okay, give me the receipt so I can write the check. And then when everything's back to normal, I can pay for it. So clearly he's a really honest guy, and he's just wants to get everything back to normal. I just think that's pretty interesting and cool. Eventually he leaves, and then we just cut at the end of the episode to him on his way, and he's clearly close to Carol because he's in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So yeah, that was our last episode. We didn't end up we thought we were going to finish the show. Turns out that there's 9 episodes in this season, not 8. So we've got one more episode to go. So yeah, we're gonna finish that. Now, after we were done watching that, I said goodnight to my mom and our family friend. I reminded my sister that we're gonna be going to the blood plasma donation center around 7, so we're gonna have to wake up early tomorrow. And when I was like fully aware, okay, gotta wake up early if I wanna, be ready for that donation, I just immediately booked it to the bathroom, brushed my teeth. Before I did that, I took my vitamins, then I brushed my teeth, took mouthwash, then I did my daily habit. I'm trying to keep a daily habit, no, I am keeping a daily habit. There we go. That's better. Of finishing my Brain Jam Extra today, and then doing 40 minutes because I missed my 20 minutes yesterday. And I need to do my 20 minutes a day. So 40 minutes of not line work, but figure drawing. And the cool thing was I found this cool YouTube channel called New Masters Academy, where they have these professional artists who teach for a living go over different sketches. They were drawing figures, time figure drawing, and they were describing their thought process. And I decided to make it like a draw along, where they describe their thought process, they draw their way, but I draw my way, but I would follow the figure as the video was playing out. And it was actually a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it because as I was drawing, I felt like I was getting into the mind of these artists while also doing my own thing and sort of cross-referencing and understanding where they were coming from with their work. And they basically said, like, do your own thing, but also don't forget to have fun and try to find a way to make a story out of what you're drawing, but not like a story, but something just to show and let the audience come to their own interpretation about what you're trying to show, whether it be a story or just something else. So I thought that was a lot of really good advice, and I really enjoyed my session. Eventually, after that, I was like, okay, now it's time for the update video. So I made sure to charge my speaker. So hopefully no audio drops out. And that's something I found out. I found out yesterday, or that the day before yesterday, my previous video on that day, the microphone ran out of battery. I'm checking it just to make sure the battery's still full. And it's like the first 2 minutes of that video, there was sound, and then after that, the next like 20 minutes, there was no sound. It's the one where it's like a day full of like Mario Party and something else. But that one with the Mario Party in the title, that one audio only comes out for the first 2 minutes, and then after that, it's silent. I guess when I checked the quality controlled the video, I only checked for the first few minutes. I was like, yeah, that sounds fine. Okay, bye. And I didn't make sure, like, oh, is there audio coming out here? Because I guess I was trying to just get it out. But now I have a video on my channel where I'm just saying things, but you don't know what I'm saying. So, yeah, that's a major bummer. Part of me wonders, should I just delete that, or should I just keep it up there as a reminder of not to do that again, not use a speaker or microphone that's at the brink of its battery death? I guess I'll keep it because, well, it's history, and even though most of it's erased due to the lack of a microphone, it is a good reminder to check your technology before you record your video. But that's going to have to do it for now. As soon as I'm done recording this, I'm going to upload this bad boy, and then I'm going to go to bed. Gonna try and get at least 5 hours of sleep tonight. Guess I gotta wake up early, and the time is now 12:48. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate your time. These vlogs are meant as simply just documentation of my life, how it's going, and simply just, as a reminder of, am I moving forward in any way, or am I just repeating the same day over and over again? And I prefer moving forward. Even if it's just a little bit's not better than nothing at all. So that's going to do it. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Sayonara.